Can superheroes really save the day if they care more about their follower count than justice? Welcome to the boys, honey. Hey, it's Emma, and I am seriously intrigued today, like high-key obsessed with this one. So, let's talk. The Boys is a satirical superhero series on Amazon Prime Video, which is Amazon's big streaming platform. It's developed by Eric Kripke, who's the showrunner, meaning the chief storyteller and boss of the writer's room. It's based on a comic by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, two legends of brutal, no BS storytelling. The show kicked off in 2019 and ran through 5 seasons, wrapping in 2026. Why did it blow up? Because it says the quiet part out loud. In this world, superheroes, or supes, are basically celebrities in capes, managed by a mega corporation called Vought International. Publicly perfect, privately a hot mess. Let me set the scene with a little personal tea. Years ago, I scored a seat at this high-profile fashion show. Think elite venue, big designers, paparazzi blinding you at the entrance. The runway looked like a miracle. Everyone serving face, serving righteousness, serving charity. After, I squeezed backstage because, I'm nosy with a press pass, and bade the veneer cracked instantly. One influencer, he's a household name, a self-branded activist, not gonna drop him here, was screaming at a junior stylist because a lone jacket looked too, quote, mid. A publicist was coaching another celeb on the exact sob story to trot out for a donation drive, like a script. Then security literally tried to block a photographer who caught a scuffle. They wanted to manage the narrative before it hit socials. It was all glossy compassion on the runway, and claws and NDAs in the wings. Walking out, I had this kismet moment. The image we buy and the truth we ignore are like completely different planets. And that is the Boys in a nutshell. Vought is every cynical PR machine I've ever seen, just with laser eyes and billion-dollar merchandising. Ever since then, I try to question the cape, the speech, the SpawnCon. If the story feels too perfectly packaged, it probably is. The Boys just gives you the receipts on screen. Okay, let's move on and break the show down ELI 5 style. Soups are created and managed by Vought International. They're celebrities first, protectors second, and sometimes monsters always. The public worships the Seven, which is Vought's A-list superhero team. But behind the posts and product lines, a vigilante group called the Boys is trying to expose them. Our entry point is Huey Campbell, played by Jack Quaid, who's a sweet electronics clerk until A-Train, the speedster, accidentally kills Huey's girlfriend in a literal splash. That horror recruits Huey to the Boys. You feel the human cost before the show scales up to politics and PR wars. Vought controls press hits, Senate hearings, toy lines, everything, like a Disney, Marvel, DC News Network hybrid. From season 2 on, episodes dropped weekly to keep the discourse churning. Water cooler vibes, think piece binges, theory TikToks, all of it. And it worked. Also a fun production gag. It's set in New York, but they film mostly in Toronto, swapping in CGI to sell a glossy corporate Manhattan. Cost efficient, still looks expensive, and it is expensive. Season 1 hovered around $11 million per episode, which is why the VFX and gore look so disturbingly premium. Credit to VFX supervisor Stefan Fleet and a whole vendor army keeping exploding whales somehow plausible. Now, the people. Eric Kripke, again, showrunner, previously steered Supernatural, so chaos is his hobby. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are the producers who love irreverent comic adaptations and backed him from the jump. On screen, Carl Urban is Billy Butcher, the leader of the Boys, all gravel and trauma and creative profanity. Jack Quaid, I mentioned, is Huey, our everyman with a buckbone growing in too fast. Erin Moriarty plays Annie January, aka Starlight, a literal light-powered soup who becomes this moral lens inside Vought's rot. And then there's Anthony Starr as Homelander, the nightmare version of Superman. He's the face of the brand, a needy, authoritarian narcissist in a flag cape, feeding on adoration like it's Compound V. The casting stays iconic through the seasons. Aya Cash appears as Stormfront, who in the show is gender swapped from the comics, and that choice absolutely pokes Homelander's fragile ego. Jensen Ackles shows up as Soldier Boy, a jingoistic relic and a walking reminder that America's myths are built on conveniently buried crimes. Claudia Dumet plays Victoria Newman, a rising politician whose arc turns the power bet won was the last day of 6 months. So, the casting stays iconic through the seasons. Aya Cash appears as Soldier Boy, whose arc turns the power game inside out. And this month provoked all power game inside out. A fun branding point, Nathan Mitchell is Black Noir. And after Noir's death, we get Black Noir 2. Same symbol, different person under the mask. Vought can replace a human but keep a logo. That is brand management as horror. which brings me to Butcher. If I were Butcher, I'd be torn every day. Do you fight monsters by becoming one? Butcher is vengeance in a leather coat. He'll burn a city block to save one person he loves and then justify the ashes later. And yet, he gets results. That tension is the heartburn of the show. What praise justice when the enemy has legal immunity, state sponsorship, and a PR halo? Let's dissect a spicy one. Some fans stan Homelander. I can't. The character is an intentional warning label. Kripke, the showrunner I mentioned, has said flat out, if you think it's too woke, watch something else. The show isn't subtle. It mirrors real slogans like Make America Super Again and Super Lives Matter to lampoon how propaganda hijacks our feeds. Homelander weaponizes media adoration, threatens democracy in broad daylight, and people still meme him like a daddy savior. That's not a gotcha to the show. That's a gotcha to us. Media literacy isn't reading subtitles. It's understanding who's selling you a story and why.
By the final season in 2026, the stakes go apocalyptic. Butcher gets a virus that can kill all soups, which is basically species-level vengeance. Homelander hunts immortality through an early Compound V formula chasing godhood. And we, the audience, are shoved into this moral grinder. Is collective punishment justice, or is it the exact same authoritarian logic you claim to fight? My take, don't cosplay ethics. If your solution requires erasing a whole class of people, you've become the villain in a nicer coat. The Boys forces you to sit with that discomfort, no cape to hide behind.
The craft behind the chaos is a total vibe. Composers Christopher Leonards and Matt Bowen build this gritty, distorted sound world that sometimes just gets out of the way. Silence is shade. And when the score does go big, it's usually satirizing those soaring superhero anthems. The show also drops in-universe tracks like Starlight's pop ballad that double as propaganda and promo. It's meta as hell, with fake marketing like Vout on Ice and cheeky videos that blur the line between the show's world and ours. You become complicit in the spectacle, and that's the point. Culturally, The Boys hits because it shreds the myth that power is noble by default. It dunks on DC and Marvel archetypes with love and knives. Queen Maeve nods to Wonder Woman, The Deep lampoons Aquaman, A-Train races through the Flash's lane, and each one shows how branding can hide abuse. It scooped up awards along the way, including double-digit Emmy nominations and some wins, and it spun off a small universe with Diabolical and Animation, 7 on 7 as an in-world newsfeed, and Gen V, which takes the show's critique to a university pipeline. That's not just content sprawl, that's world-building with a purpose. Before we wrap, remember how I said my backstage moment changed me? The Boys is that moment for the culture. It's the hand yanking the curtains so we see the interns cleaning up blood while the hero smiles in a cereal box. Love that for us. Hate that we need it. Next, we're diving into a series that absolutely drags modern romance, ghosters, love bombers, the whole messy buffet. Stay tuned. So that's the tea, folks. Always question the cape, and please hydrate after all this spice. Later.